Hey everybody, hey Kappas, this is Jay, and today I have with me Amber Nash from, probably the most prominent show, Archer, but she's done some other things, did Frisky Dingo, right? Well, we're just going to jump right into it, and I know I asked you this before, but I'll ask again.
Okay.
How'd you wind up at A-Kon? Is it just for fun, or just spur of the moment?
I have a manager, and A-Kon contacted my manager, and they asked if I would come, which I find surprising because it is an anime con. And I said yes, and that's how I ended up here.
You've been enjoying it so far?
Yeah, it's really fun. I'll tell you, there are some cons that don't take great care of their guests.
Oh, yeah.
And A-Kon goes above and beyond. It's been super fun, and I also love that there's so much cosplay. Because if you go to a con, that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And it's all great, and people are, just killing it.
I don't know if you're here on Thursday. We even had a masquerade ball, which you had people in cosplay, but also doing a masquerade, it's really hard
awesome.
It's hard to pin down exactly what you're seeing there, but
Okay.
it's pretty awesome. Well, I'm going to jump in straight to not just Archer, but you're working with Adam Reed on Archer, and you got started on Frisky Dingo. And how did that exactly get started?
So I am an improviser by trade. That's kind of how I started even performing at all. And so there's a theater in Atlanta called Dad's Garage, and I started working there as an improviser, and it was kind of like my hobby. I got a degree in psychology and was a counselor for troubled teenagers, and I would do that for fun.
Yeah.
And one of our improvisers at Dad's was also an animator for 7030, which was the production company when they were making C-Lab. And then they went on to make Frisky Dingo, and so the guys from 7030 would come to see shows at Dad's, and we kind of had a relationship with them, and they knew some of us, and we knew them, and we'd watch all their shows. And MC Chris was a good friend of mine who was also an animator there. And, so they came and saw shows, and they had me audition for Frisky Dingo, and I was completely wrong for it because it was before Frisky Dingo became what it was, and it was going to be like a family show.
Yeah.
With like a daughter and a parents.
I remember that show went through some really weird changes.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was until it actually got going. I'm like, oh, okay.
I still don't know what it was after 2 seasons of being on it.
It's one of the things I liked about Adam Reed, though, because I watch a lot of C-Lab, too, and I really can't put my finger on exactly what this is trying to be.
I know.
But I guess if you're an improviser, it worked out pretty well.
Perfect, yeah. And so they had me audition, and I was wrong for it, but then I got the role of Val later on, and then when Archer came about, they were like, hey, you want to do this? And I was like, yeah. And I had no idea. I had no idea it was going to be a huge show and be as awesome as it is.
Yeah. Well, again, it is weird seeing, kind of the small beginnings of, C-Lab, and then all of a sudden FX is like, we're going to have a show called Archer, and I'm like, wait a minute, I know that voice, I know that, wait, whoa!
Yeah.
And then you guys have only gotten more successful with each season.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest difference working on something like Frisky Dingo and then moving up to, well, I guess what Archer has kind of become?
Well, the biggest difference is when they were making Frisky Dingo, they worked out of a house in a shitty neighborhood.
Yeah.
And it was like 4 dudes, 4 sweaty dudes working in a house on their own computers. And they paid me under the table, I wasn't part of the union. I didn't, the IRS knew nothing about it. And they would lock me in a closet to record my lines. So I would close the door and lock it, and then they would lock the outside door, and I would just be in this tiny closet and record my lines. So now they've got a big office and hundreds of animators, and I'm in the union, and it's all above board, so it's changed a lot.
Okay, and was it the same for the first season? Because I read somewhere, I think it was an interview with H. John Benjamin, where he mentioned that, at one point, he would record his lines with, I think, Adam Reed on the phone, delivering the next, somebody else's line to him when he's trying to do Archer.
Yeah.
So did it kind of start off that way for that first season?
Yeah, they've grown exponentially every year. Because now they're animating all the shows for FX. And they did Chosen and Unsupervised and some of the stuff that didn't quite make it after a season. But the guys, because they make the show in Atlanta and I live there, I get to go in and actually record with those guys.
Right.
But John and Aisha and everybody else is in either New York or LA. And so they are patched in through the phone still today. So John's in the booth and he hears the guys through his headphones, and that's how they do it all.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's go into Pam.
Okay.
Because speaking of talking about the show has kind of changed a little bit with each season. Pam has had a character progression I can really only call kind of unique. She started off as just kind of like the grapevine of The Office. And somehow the Yakuza got involved, and then just actually she's a pretty good field agent. Has it gotten any harder to play Pam with each season?
No, it's actually gotten easier because she's become more of a character. Pam's character is knows more what it is now than it used to be. Because in the beginning it was kind of nebulous, and nobody really knew what Pam was or what she was capable of, and I don't think Adam knew either. And I think that he started to realize the potential of Pam, and he knows me really well too. So I think he kind of started to write for everybody more as he got to know them more, you know. And I actually just went back and read the pilot episode of Archer, and when they first introduced Pam, they say Pam, the mousy HR director. And so to hear her described as mousy now is like so crazy, but that's who she was in the beginning.
Well, you know, I've noticed it with other characters in that show, because I remember when it first got started, like Cheryl was like a relatively normal person.
Yeah.
And then, well, she's what she is now.
Yeah, and she was actually supposed to die after the first episode. And then, but they were like, we got Judy Greer, like we can't kill that character.
Right.
And so then she stayed on and became an awesome character too.
That's awesome. And I guess this kind of goes into the show as a whole. The way I describe Archer to people is that it is a sort of, well, it started off as sort of a spy show, but I kind of call it like Seinfeld on steroids, in that I don't think there's a person in the show who's not horrible in some way or another.
So true.
So I guess, what is it like working on that kind of show where, you know, you can sit there and say like the really horrible thing for a line, and then realize that, you know what, it's probably not even gonna be the worst thing said in an episode.
Yeah, because Pam has some terrible things that she has to say.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff that's terrible, Pam has said it.
Right.
But what I love about the show is that everybody is a despicable character.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, everybody really loves each other and like has each other's back, even if they don't want to.
Yeah.
So there's this kind of like terrible family dynamic.
Right.
And actually, when Adam pitched it to FX, he said it's James Bond meets Arrested Development, which is like so true, because it's like that's the same family dynamic they have in Arrested Development too, where everybody is a despicable character.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, then here's my chance to let you just kind of go off the rails here.
Okay.
What else is going on right now? Basically, if there's something you want to plug, go crazy.
Well, the theater I work for in Atlanta is, if anybody in Atlanta is watching this,
Right.
We're doing cool stuff in Atlanta. So if you ever come to Atlanta, like come to our theater, it's called Dad's Garage. You can go to dadsgarage.com and check it out. We also have a YouTube channel called Dad's Garage TV that's got great videos on it. One of them is a music video for a song called Rusty Trombone. Enough said. So check that out. Lots of fun stuff. And we also do a podcast called Dad's Garage Radio, and you can find that on SoundCloud or iTunes.
Okay.
And I'm on Twitter at Amber Nash, and I'm just going to keep on trucking, doing as much as I can.
Awesome. Well, this is the tail end of our interview, and I always end it on just something that's completely out there. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just wing it anyway.
Okay.
In a battle of 73 Gokus versus 28 Superman, who wins?
The Gokus? Because I don't even know what those are.
That's perfectly fine. No, but again, you're on Archer. If people Archer is on. It's on FX.
Yep.
Apparently, it's getting showed on Comedy Central now.
Yep.
I saw that last night. And then, of course, it's on Netflix.
Yep.
So, are there any other channels I'm missing?
That's it. And
Okay.
the new season will start on FX in January.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay then. Well, then I think that's just about everything. I hope you have fun for this last day, and it was honestly, it was just kind of crazy meeting you. I was not expecting it.
Cool.
But I hope you have a great time.
Thanks.
All right.
Super fun.